Shake your boots, put on your dancing moves. No time to waste. Oh, ready, set, and go. Yay, fire up the show. Oh, ready, set, and go. Let the good times roll.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Same Bet Show. Tonight is a celebration. Tony Leo's back to celebrate the one-year anniversary of a successful W.A.G.E program. Now, when it launched just a little over a year ago, there were just a few of us, and we were primarily focused on the game of craps. But since then, Tony's published videos and strategies for all the major table games in the casino. Now, W.A.G.E takes an entrepreneurial approach to gambling with diversified revenue streams that we can all tap into. He inspires his students to win through best practices such as bankroll management, situational awareness, and discipline. Now tonight, we're going to discuss his game plan for success, where he sees the W.A.G.E program going, and he takes questions from you, the live audience. So Tony, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks a lot. Hey, everybody.
All right, just a little housekeeping. I'm doing something slightly different with this show, so hopefully all of the YouTube comments are going to show up here on the right-hand side. So if you have questions, that's one of the things Tony really wants to do today is interact with you, the live audience. So I'll be watching for some. We'll highlight a few. Plus, Tony should be able to see the whole history. All right, so Tony, let's dig into it. So let's start out. So anybody that doesn't know about W.A.G.E, what would what's your elevator speech? Tell us a little bit about the W.A.G.E program.
Okay. Well, W.A.G.E encompasses all four games: craps, baccarat, roulette, and blackjack. Say it's a year program, and my promise to you is that at the end of that 1 year, you are going to be able to win consistently playing either one of those games or all four of those games. And it's always good to have that second game in your toolbox anyways. But that's what W.A.G.E does. I'm only going to take X amount of members. I make you accountable. You get complete clarity in the videos and whatnot. The YouTube videos, you get the cake. With W.A.G.E, you get the icing on the cake. And so you're learning a lot quicker, and you're perfecting your game. You're not just a player now. Now you're a consistent winner.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. So I've been a W.A.G.E member since the very beginning. And, everybody in this audience knows me as a craps player. But what they might not know is that I've become a fairly skilled baccarat player as well. And that's totally due to you. I've never played baccarat until I started watching and learning from you. So everybody, just know that W.A.G.E is more than just craps. All right, so just another couple of housekeeping things. If somebody could put in the chat, can you guys hear me okay? I just want to make sure that our audio is working. And also let you guys know that the glare on Tony's glasses, we can't help that. We worked on that. Unfortunately, it's from the computer screen. Not much we can do about it. But hopefully if somebody can let me know how the audio sounds for both of us, I would really appreciate that. Meanwhile, we've got a couple of people putting some comments in here. Vince Armini's out there. Hi, Dave.
Oh,
Hi, Tony.
Hey, you guys. Nice to see everybody up here.
Yeah.
I took a nice picture with Sue at the Palace Station. I met her, Vinny's wife, and a great lady. We took a couple nice pics together. But anyway, it was a good time.
Well, you know what? I can already see we've got some questions coming in. I'm going to pull them up as I can. Anthony Hernandez would like to know, in your opinion, which game has the best players' odds?
Well, if you're looking at the mathematical answer, it's going to be, craps, pass line or whatnot. But you can't change the odds of the game, but you can change your results. And that's what we look to do by doing things the way we do them. So I don't, if I'm playing roulette, I'm playing the 50-50 games or the close to 50-50 games, the outside bets, maybe the 2-to-1 bets, the columns and the dozens, but I'm not really going for the numbers. Baccarat, it's either bank or player. I'm not making the tie bet or all the other side bets. And so in craps, we do what we do in craps.
Yep. So everybody, if you wouldn't mind, if you have a question for Tony, be sure to put it in the chat. And if you would put a question, a capital Q in front of it, so it's easy for me to identify, and we'll pull it out here as we can. All right. So you're talking about the best game to play, and when we're talking about odds or advantage or house advantage or whatever you want to call it, you're right. The pass line, don't pass line, blackjack. I think you've got some pretty good odds with that, but to a skilled player, the odds can change. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. So through disciplined play, you can beat those odds. Maybe that's the best
Oh
way to
yeah,
put that.
absolutely. That's the whole idea. If we're talking about craps, about being, doing the dice control or whatever. I mean that then now you're including the human factor,
Hmm.
okay, into that, which simulators and all that other stuff they don't calculate. Okay, so when you put the human factor in there, and you could control the dice, or if you're playing blackjack and you know the probability of a low card or a high card, I mean that is to your advantage.
Yep. Yep. All right, Dice Grinder. He's out there wanting to know, or he's basically saying you're not concerned about the math of the game, but the ROI.
Now, math means nothing to me. I mean, it means something in regards to the payouts of the bets, or that if you got the 4 through 10 covered, you got 24 ways to win, 6 ways to lose, 4 to 1 in your favor. That kind of math, but not that. A hot bet. I'll never make a hot bet because there's a 13% house edge. I mean, that means nothing to me if I just threw 4 in a row.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, Kevin. Turtles from Midnight Craps. Hi, Tony. Do you see table minimums coming down anytime soon on the strip?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know about the strip so much, but off strip, you can still in the middle of the week get a $10 game. But other than that, come Friday, they're all up. Quarter or whatever, $15 minimum on the off strip.
Yeah, and I think that that's not just the strip. I think that's pretty much everywhere.
Yeah,
The casinos have seen the demand start to rise, but they haven't lowered the table
right.
limits.
Now,
Why
now
why would they?
online, yeah, online that's a different game. You have a live dealer, no craps, but you can have a live dealer for baccarat, roulette, and blackjack, and play $1 a hand, 50 cents, 50 cent minimum on roulette with good maximum. So it's depending on what you're looking for.
All right, so Texas Crap Shooters, he's asking, how many bets at one time is too much? Should you state at two or three numbers versus a cross, since you need so many more hits to win?
Uh, all right, one more time. I don't get that. What is it?
All right, so he's basically asking, are you just going to do a place bet for 6 and 8, or how about a place bet, horn bet,
Oh, okay.
hop
I,
bet?
I play 3 ways. I play one of 3 ways. The first way I play is 6, 8 in the field. Is one of the methods that I will do in the way we play it. However, is different than anybody else. Or I'll play the 4 through 10 across, and maybe have the horn with it, so I get paid on every roll. And then I don't do the 5, 6, 8, 9, but I will do the 5, 6, 8, 10. Okay, for the simple reason that because of the 4 and 10, you're getting paid more, and I can go the same amount of levels of my betting for less of a bankroll. So if I can get paid more and cost me less, that's a good method. So those are the 3 methods that I primarily play when I play.
Yep,
That's
yep.
craps.
All right, so Tony, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is the game plan for success. Um, with multiple games, you've got baccarat, you've got roulette, you've got blackjack, and you've got craps. You've got all of those in your arsenal, and you're master level on all of those. How do you choose what you're going to play? Is it just what you feel like for that day?
No, my game plan is craps number one. Okay, so when I go early in the morning, uh, that's what I'll play. Then after my craps session, then I just won't jump in my car. I'll walk around a little bit, and if I go to by the blackjack table, let's say nobody's there, I'll sit down. I'll play one on one. I still like playing one on one, no matter what the game. Blackjack too. If I'm playing by myself with the dealer, I'm getting more hands dealt to me per hour, which means more money per hour. I'm in and out quicker, and nobody can alter my play. So I might do that, or I might go in the high limit room and play baccarat for a couple wins at a higher limit, and that kind of thing. But it's always craps. That's my game plan. That's what I prepare for when I'm going.
All right, we've got a couple of people asking some questions, so let's pull them up here. Dan D, does Tony's wage require a dice influencer to work or shake them and chuck them?
Well, with advantage dice control, there's actually two parts to that: the advantage dice control part, and then how to beat the random shooter. So we won't just chuck them. If we're shooting the dice, we're using advantage dice control, and we're following our plan. If the table's crowded and we're just playing random, well, then that's what it is. We're playing a different game altogether. But advantage dice control is setting the dice.
So, Tony, when you're talking about the random roller or then yourself, is that what you refer to as situational awareness?
Well, situational awareness in pertaining to gambling, I mean, it's been around for a long time. It's nothing new. It's done in sport and sports betting all the time. But situation gambling would be, waiting for the shooter to like your 5 count, waiting for the shooter to throw 5 times and jumping in because you think he's going to have a better roll with that. Or you see 2 reds in a row. Now it's time to follow that. It's just some sort of a situation. For example, when we play the don't pass, if I'm going, using an up as you lose betting method and I have 7 levels, let's say, I might wait for that shooter to throw 3 passes before I jump in and go don't on him. Because by waiting to 3, and if I got 7 levels, now I got 10 levels, it's very hard for a shooter to throw 10 passes. Okay. I mean, I think it's like 1,000 to 1 of that happening. So, but
Yeah,
that
so I
would
think
be
that,
what's called situational. Yes.
yeah, I think that's very important for people to understand is that, especially with advantage dice control and even some of the other wage programs, that situational awareness can be the difference between a successful run or not.
Absolutely.
And being able to read that situation and adjust your betting is very important.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. I see Anthony Hernandez. You have a great question out there. I'm going to come back to that here in a few minutes, but let's see if we can pull in a couple of the others. Let's see here. Mid-Atlantic Craps. Had an opportunity to talk to Larry a lot last week, and they talked about sessions that you and him, you both like to play early in the morning. But I think it was more of a comment than a question. So Tony, you still like the early morning play?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I still want to play solo or with a team member and do it that way. I mean, if I do it the other way, I lose. If I go, for example, Larry was out here, Magic Aces. He's one of my instructors. We went to Gold Coast for a while in the evening. It was packed, but some guy he got raped at stick right, so I step in there. Everybody's been 0.7 and out the whole time. So when I go at that time to play with somebody, it's normally on the don't side or just wait for me to get the dice or somebody else to get the dice. But I always lose that way. When I go in the mornings, I never lose. But when I go in the evenings and do that whole thing, I mean, first of all, I don't have the patience the way the dice go around the table. I'd have a heart attack waiting for the dice to get back to me. So play solo, have your bankroll, work your plan, quit when you hit your goal, and that's it. Do it again tomorrow.
Well, Tony, I think I'm going to flip over to one of the questions or one of the comments that I had. Hang on one second. Let me find it. Here we go. How winning is done. Now, one of the things that I like about you, Tony, is that you publish this for everybody to see. There's no trade secrets here. There's just nuggets of information. And this one, it really spoke to me. And I'm just going to read it. Winners win because they have the bankroll. They have the method to work their plan, and they limit the playing time. And they adhere to strict discipline from the moment they enter the casino until the moment they leave. To me, that's gold. There are so many distractions when you walk into a casino. If you can stick to those 4 or 5 principles, that could be the difference between walking away successful or not.
Well, totally, absolutely. I mean, you have your bankroll. That's the main thing. Like I always said, it gives you the strength of reserves, which means if needed, you have that extra level, that insurance in your pocket. Okay, it's there. Then you have the power to resolve, because the way we play, if we're playing our up as you lose, you only
Hmm.
need one roll of the dice, two rolls of the dice, and you're ahead of the game. Okay,
Yep.
so you have the power to resolve that little setback you're in right now, and work your plan to a T. Don't deviate from it. Okay, and hit your 20% and hit the door. I mean, don't quit in the middle of your roll, but as soon as you seven out, or take down your bets and start over and try and build a hand or whatever, and just adhere to that, and that is the winning recipe right there.
All right, let's jump back into a few questions here. Anthony Hernandez would like to know, what is your go-to casino and where you like to play at?
Well, I live by Red Rock, and the Durango station going to be open next year, which is actually going to be closer. I'll be in the middle of both of them. But I go to Red Rock. I do the Palace Station. I'll do Gold Coast and the Palms, the M. Uh, Nobody likes South Point. I do really good over there. South Point. A lot of those places pay triple on the 12 in the field, so that's a big advantage to me. I mean, if especially you get up to one of your higher levels and you're losing, and you need that or you get that, I mean, there you go. It just paid triple. So that's not a bad way. So I like that. I mean, I don't really care if they have the hot bets, but most of them do. And but other than that, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Sometimes Bellagio if I want to play the strip. Bally's, I like the crapless. Uh, so but mostly off strip. The Nugget downtown I love. The Plaza's doing a big renovation. So I'll probably go back there and play again too.
I think it would have been easier to say, where do you not like to play?
Yeah, well, I don't pretty much I don't play too much on the strip actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Why? I mean, you have so many off-strip
That's it.
casinos
Yeah.
around you that,
Hmm.
and like you
Yeah.
said,
And when I get in the car in the morning, I mean, I already know where I'm going. Okay,
yeah,
so I already know the casino I'm going to. I got all my bankroll, everything I need, and I go.
yeah. I recognize a few of our wage members in the
Oh yeah.
audience. We've got Texas Ron. Uh, I believe I saw
Hey
Joe
guys.
Banda. Lou Louie's out there just joined us. So yeah, we've got several of the wage members
All right,
watching
we'll
us
keep them
here
coming.
tonight. Yeah.
By the way, David, I mean, let's. I got told you about that promotion or special I'd like to have for your board here. So,
Uh huh.
I mean, uh, let me just say this to you. If you guys are considering wage, shoot me a message, a private message, and I'll give you a heck of a deal based on, being Dave's show here. So I'll make you kind of a deal you can't refuse if you are the least bit interested. And just go to wagemembers.com and read it and see if it sounds like something you might want to do. All right, there you go.
And I would also say, if you have any trouble reaching Tony, you can also reach out to me. I'll get you in touch, and he'll give you a great deal
Yeah.
on the wage program. All right, so let's go back over to a couple more of the questions. Um, the next one, let's go ahead and talk about this one now. Anthony Hernandez, he's asking a great question. Is the 6 count a must for random shooters? Now, I think you might be getting things a little bit confused with Golden Touch Crap's 5 count and
Mm.
your 6 count. So what? So I'll tee it up real quick. So the Golden Touch Craps, they do a 5 count on random shooters, meaning they will wait at least 5 rolls before they start to make a bet. And there's some conditions in there, so I know we won't go into that here. But the 6 count has nothing to do
No.
with random rollers. In fact, I've got a slide here. Let's see if I can pull it up. And Tony, can you maybe talk a little bit about the 6 count?
Oh yeah. Okay. The 6 count. It's what it says right there. It's to improve your throw, your set, your grip, focus, toss, follow through, and your landing zone, and that is actually the 6 count. So what it's done for me is it just slowed my throw down, and I concentrate and focus a little bit more. So the first count is the set. You set your dice right. Okay. Then number two is you grip it. Number three, you turn your wrist or wherever you're going with it and focus on your landing zone. Maybe the count of like 1001, 1002. And then you toss. And after your toss, you don't drop your hand. You leave your hand up, your arm up, so you can see that follow through. That stops me from, whipping my wrist out there and flinging it instead of following through with it. And then, of course, the last number six is the landing zone. So by doing this, it's helped my throw tremendously. Okay, so maybe longer rolls, more back to back. So if I throw a 4-1, I might throw another 4-1 or whatever. So we'll see a lot of back to backs with this as well. So just try it if it works for you. But the two things it did for me was it slowed my game down a little bit, so I took my time and I saw my follow through. I don't drop my arm until the dice hit the wall. So there you go.
And I would like to say that everybody does this already, but they don't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
And, that's another thing that you always talk about is practice with a purpose. So if you're taking the time, oops, I'm sorry, wrong slide. If you're taking the time to watch your set, how are you setting it? How are you gripping it? Are you focusing it? And it's just taking that pause to make sure that you do all of this on purpose. And it will have an impact on your game. It will help you out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see here. We're going to come back in and take another couple of the questions. Dice Grinders out there, he would like to know, how many strategies are you teaching for each of the 4 games?
Wow. Craps, what do you call a strategy? If you're calling a method, you can play any of the methods, 6 and the 8, 4 through 10, inside, whatever, evens, the field, it doesn't matter. Baccarat, there's a couple of different ways to play it, but what makes the difference there is the betting methods. Are you making the same bet? Are you playing it up as you lose? Are you doing a 2-win parlay and pressing and using it up as you win? Or are you starting a little higher and regressing down after a win? So those are the only 4 ways you can bet. So roulette, we play the outside bets, low, high, odd, even, and the red and black. I'll play the dozens and the columns, maybe some line bets, but even then, I'm still covering 45% of the wheel. So, but that's it.
So we got a real quick shout out. DJB Thunder said he met Tony last week in Vegas and joined W.A.G.E yesterday.
Oh yeah, huh?
So Thunder, welcome to the group, man.
Yep, welcome.
So I'd like to go back and maybe touch a little bit on what Dice Grinder was just talking about there, and Arnell, there's several. There's several different strategies, and it goes back to, again, what we were talking about with situational awareness. When you're playing, you don't necessarily want to abandon ship, but you might make some micro adjustments. For instance, let's use craps for instance. If you I'm trying not to say too much, but let's take a field bet, for instance. There are certain circumstances where a field bet might make sense. It might not be part of your base strategy, but the situation has presented itself where that field bet might be a good bet for you. So you incorporate that into your game. Now you're playing a little bit of a variation on one of the strategies. So there's a lot of different ways you can play the game based on the base strategies that Tony's teaching. So situational awareness, that's what's going to, I know I keep harping on that, but I think that's what's going to get you from here to here. All right.
Yeah, let me give you a variation on that field bet for a minute. A lot of people think that you can, if you're playing like the 5, 6, 8 in the field, one wins, one loses, you're taken away from it and all that. But you don't have to tie the field into that 5, 6, and 8 like originally that it was made to do on the Iron Cross. Okay, I just call it the 5, 6, 8 field because you can play that field 2 ways. If it's tied in, you can just tie it in. So you have to minus the field bet to get your total. But if you play it separately and independently and use your situation, for example, when I play my 6 and 8, I do this all the time. The field is tied into my first bet is a $30 6 and 8, and I'll have a $10 in the field. All right, so I'll win 35 minus the 10. I'll get a green chip. Okay, so that's good. It's tied in, and I can do what I want with that. But if I throw, example, two non-fields, let's say I throw the 6 and the 8. Okay, now I'm not going to tie it in any longer. Now I'm going to start with a quarter, and I'm going to play it separate and independently because I just waited for two non-fields. And the way I throw the dice, or we throw the dice, there's just no way in hell we're not going to throw a field, in the next few rolls. So uh, so we'll play it independently that way. Now we make the whole thing on the 6 and the 8, and the whole thing. So you got two independent methods going at once. It makes you more money quicker.
All right, let's flip back over to another question. Another one from Tony Hernandez. Are the all tall small bets and fire bets, are they sucker bets?
So you're talking to the wrong guy because I don't play the ATS or the fire bets at all. I like to use my horn bets as my bonus bets. So I don't really play all that, any of that. So I'm the wrong guy to ask.
Yeah, and I would say that I don't play it either. And the reason I don't play it is I don't hit it. If there is a repeater bet on the table, I might do that. But the fire bet, no. The all tall small, usually no. I at least on myself, I don't hit it. So I don't play them. All right, let's go back to some more questions. Tony, do you like the crapless tables?
I love the crapless table. And the only way I'll play that is we'll play the 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, and 12. 6 bets. They're not a one roll bet anymore. So I love it. So it works for me.
Yep. All right,
The way
Duracell
we
8.
bet it, the way we bet it, the way the dice sets we use and whatnot. I mean, we'll kill it.
Yeah. All right, Duracell's wanting to know, Tony, what's the greatest craps experience you've ever had at the table?
You mean like the biggest win was at the Rio. I was with a client, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. We made $45,000. That was probably the highlight of my craps. I'll never do it again because I don't play that way. Now I just hit my daily goal and I'm done in a little less or a little more, but that's pretty much it. But that was a good time. We
I'll
did
bet.
that. That was started like maybe 11 at night to maybe 3 or 4 in the morning.
We've got some people giving advice here. The Texas crap shooter's saying, Anthony, it's not a sucker bet. You should not play it on randoms except for a small bit. Someone like Arnell will hit it multiple times in a full day. You bet on those people that you know. Okay, well that goes back to not necessarily situational awareness, but hey, if you know the shooters and you know that they're hitting it, okay, take a chance every once in a while.
Sure.
Tony, you have a concept called gimme money, and that's probably a fun way to use the gimme money.
Yeah. Gimme money is your dollar chips. That's all it is. So, but if you look at your rack, while you're playing, you're going to have 10, 15 of them sometimes. So when I press, I'll press whatever, but then I'll take all my dollar chips and I'll place them. I'll use them up. Whether if I got 5 of them, I can press a number, or I can put 5 of them here and 4 of them on the hard ways. And if the shooter's throwing a 6 dominant, I'll bet the high numbers or whatever, and do it that way. I mean, I'm still pressing with a purpose, but it puts that extra money out there for some of those wins, and it works.
Okay, awesome. All right, the Dice Grinders has another question for you. In craps, do you believe only in a parallel toss, or are you open to teaching other tosses?
What do you mean parallel toss? You mean an off
I like
axis?
the par. Well, I think he's referring to like the par toss, 3 finger straight down the.
Well, I do a 3 finger. I mean, that's one of the tosses that we use, but I also we do a 2 finger, we do a reinforced grip, split. I mean, we do a few different types of grips there.
Yeah.
And I shoot, it depends. I mean, the die, I look at 2 things. Am I on axis or off axis? And that tells me my whole game. So that's what I go by.
Yeah. And, I think that that's really important. That one thing that sets advantage dice control, let's just talk about craps for a second, that sets that apart from some of the others is that you can shoot from multiple locations around the table. You're not locked into, stick left, stick right. You could shoot from the end and still be successful. There are methods that you can use to
Sure.
to maximize your effectiveness. To me, that's a real, I don't know, tangible benefit of advantage dice control is being able to learn the multiple spots around the table and how you can benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've got another Texas crap shooter out there saying the win goal. There was a guy at Gold Coast 3 days in a row who left each time mid-roll after hitting a point, and he had hit his goal. Do you leave mid-roll or wait until you 7 out?
I would never leave mid roll. I mean, we're dice setters. We might throw another 20 times.
Yeah.
So no. I mean, I might if when I hit my goal, I might take my bets down and go, inside for a minimum bet and try and build a hand up. But I've already got everything in my rack that I know I'm walking out with. Okay. Or I'll just start collecting and pressing and try and build another hand out of it. And then when I do 7 out, then I'll color up and go.
Yeah. No way. Not leaving mid-roll. Not going to happen.
No mid-roll.
All right. So we've got a viewer out there that asks a question, and I'm going to have to ask him, what in the heck does he mean by this? So Texas Ron, with age comes wisdom. So
He's calling me old.
Or is he talking about himself?
Old.
Ron, are you calling yourself old, or what's the deal here? All right. So let's change gears for just a second. And you have a blackjack background. Can you tell us a little bit about your past and why the shift? Why did you go from blackjack to craps?
Okay. I had just gotten married, and I was a commodities trader in Newport Beach, California, and in the Los Angeles Times there was an ad in the paper putting together a professional blackjack team. So I called the guy. His name was John Repart. He's still up on Google and whatnot. I'm sure he's passed now because he was very old when I met him. But we put a blackjack team together, and we were coming to Vegas every weekend and doing very well. My main place to play at the time was downtown, and I was parking right on Fremont Street and playing at the Mint. And back then, I mean, the comps were better and everything was better. But that's how I got into blackjack, was being on the blackjack team. And then, after doing all that, one of the blackjack team members were also a crap shooter. So he introduced me to the game of craps. And then so I started doing what I do, and that was pretty much it. So from 1980 to 2000, not only I was playing blackjack, but I was also playing craps as well, but all on the don't side, not shooting the dice. I didn't start doing anything with dice setting until I moved out here in 2000.
Yeah. All right. So blackjack is definitely one of the 4 games in the W.A.G.E program.
Yep.
And
it's the hardest, though. It's the hardest to learn. It's not hard to count. That's easy, but it's just harder to learn because there's different decisions you got to make during that game. So, and you got to know, you got to qualify the dealer. You got to make sure the dealer is busting their share. Okay, So there you go.
Yeah. So I have to admit that's one of them that I have not paid a lot of attention to on the W.A.G.E program. I would say most of the W.A.G.E members, we've focused on craps. I mean, that just seems to be the base. But a lot of us are starting to bridge out. We're starting to play baccarat. Some are playing roulette, and we're starting to see some of the success stories on the Facebook page. So maybe I'm not really sure what my question is here, but is it possible to be a master in more than one of the table games, or should we just focus on one?
No, you want to have at least game number 2. Okay, that way, I mean, for example, I walk to a craps table, it's crowded. I can go play, a baccarat or roulette or whatever I want. So you want to have at least that second game. If you're just a craps player, well, that's fine too. You're just a craps player. But I believe in having that second game. I think it'll give you more income at the end of the month.
Yeah. All right, so Texas Ron had a comment for you. Tony, I've known you for 3 years and never discussed you and I were both on commodity traders. So you guys have a similar background.
How about that?
All right, so I'm going to bring up a comment that John from ProCraps made, and it's about the bonus bets and whatnot. So he says, and it's kind of a long one. Seems like everyone that wins big wins on a sucker bet like the ATS. Everyone that wins on the regular plays to win has great discipline, good feel, and strategies to match. And John, I think you're right on that. But I think my own philosophy, and Tony, you can slap me down if you think it's wrong, but I would much rather be a consistent winner, walking away with my 20% win, and not even bothering with the all tall small, because it is more of a long shot. I would rather be consistent than lucky once or twice.
Well, look at it this way too. I mean, if you hit the all tall and all small, you had to roll a shitload of numbers to get there. So you made your money.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So John, yeah, thank you for that question, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, John's right.
All right. The Dice Dr. Dan would like to know, does Tony have a question for me? Uh-oh. Did you put Dice Dr. Dan up to this?
No, I don't know what he's talking about. What question, Dan?
So, do you want to ask me
I
anything
know
about
we
the WAGE
talked, we
program?
talked at Palace Station, but I don't remember.
Okay. Well, I'm an open book. If I know it, I'll answer it. If I don't know it, I'll tell you that too. So we'll go from there. So let's talk a little bit about WAGE. It's been around here for a year. We started out with a couple of members, maybe a year and a couple of months ago. And as of today, I think there was like 75, 76 people out there. So
Yeah, we have 77 members. Originally, when I put WAGE together, if you guys all remember, I said I'm only going to take 50. But it went well, and I got it down, and I made some mistakes which I corrected or whatnot, learned myself. So now I'm going to kick it at 100, and we're done. And since we've started, I've probably promoted about a dozen or so to Wage Master. I've added Larry Frank and G-Dub, Gary Weaver as instructors, ADC instructors, and everybody's kicking butt and taking names, and playing. Some are playing online and winning. And I did a challenge back in December, $40 a day online from December 14th to January 14th with a daily goal of $40. And did that. You guys should all put something together and have your goals ready and go for it. But WAGE is doing well. I'd like to have a few more people on the Facebook part, because a lot of people are just coming in to learn and play and do their own thing, which is fine. But the Facebook page, you can interact with everybody and do your thing. So it's got its advantages. Yeah. But any questions, just message me, whatever. I'll be happy to help you.
So, Dice Dr. Dan, so if Tony can't think of a question for me, maybe you have one. Go ahead and drop it in there, and I'll see if I can answer it. All right, Dice Grinders, he's coming up with another question for us. He says he's interested in roulette and looking to practice. Is there a foolproof way to practice? He's been watching a bunch and seems to he's seen some strategies. Maybe he's going to purchase a roulette wheel.
So I wouldn't purchase a roulette wheel. I mean, you could practice online for free. But I mean, no matter where you're playing, you want to just play the outside bets. Low, high, odd, even, red, black, the columns and the dozens where you cover 2/3 of the wheel. I mean, and then incorporate, whatever betting method's going to work the best for you. And we have about 4 or 5 different ways to bet roulette. But it's a great game. Don't shy away from it because everybody thinks it's a soccer game. That's not true. Okay. No matter what game you're doing, though, remember just to hit it and get it. Hit your goal and go. Okay. That's the thing. I've always said the longer you're in there, bad shit's going to happen. So, and that is true.
Yeah. All right. James Reel is asking a kind of a technical question. So in the areas of the country that have major high and low humidity, does that affect the bounce of the dice?
You're asking the wrong guy, James. I have no clue.
Yeah. And James, I would say, maybe it does, but how much? If a random roller rolls 6 and the humidity's high, what does the random roller do? 5.5 or 6.5? Not, it's probably not going to make a big difference. Nothing that can't be overcome with a good strategy. All right, let's see here. I think we actually caught up on the questions that we have. So let's talk a little bit about, we talked about WAGE, how we have 50 some odd or 70 some odd people. You want to get it up to 100. But what comes next? How do we build that community or strengthen that community?
More consistent winners. That's my goal with Wage. It's always been my goal, and that's what we're doing. And to be a wage master, there's a test involved, and my guys had to pass the test. There's three parts to craps. I'll tell you what it is. The first part is just Q&A. I'm hitting you with payouts, this, that, and everything that has to do with advantage dice control. The ADC 6 count, this, that, and the other. All verbal. Okay, you can't miss any. All right, you either know it or you don't. The next part of the test is recording your rolls and then learning how to read those rolls after you record them. And there's things that you're going to be telling me that we're looking for that's going to improve your game tremendously. And then part 3 is just giving back, grabbing somebody on Wage or a friend and giving back with the knowledge you have and showing them how to be a consistent winner. That's it. But they got to pass the test, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that's my goal, is to promote some more Wage masters. If there's any other instructors in there that want to go that route, well, that's different as well. So, but I'm looking forward to growing.
Yeah, and I would say I was the third person to earn Wage Master status, and I had to go through that test too. And to be honest with you guys, I had to take that test twice. I failed it the first time. So it's not a gimme test. You have to know what you're talking about and be able to pass it. And some of the things that I didn't anticipate is becoming a mentor to a newer Wage member or a newer player. And that really puts that pressure on you. That's when you really know if you know it or you don't. Because you have some young guy out here playing craps for 2 months, and he wants to be a master level, and he's looking to you for the advice. You better know what you're talking about, otherwise you're gonna you could do some damage there. So don't the certification program. Don't think it's something that's easy, but it's not impossible. And
no, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, we got a couple more questions coming through. Let's go back over here. D-Bear, when you did your 40-day challenge, did you play one game or more than one?
Baccarat and roulette. Okay, those are the two games I went back and forth to.
Yep. And,
primarily Baccarat.
And then Dice Grinder kind of has related. So when you're playing online, do you need to use a VPN to access the online casinos? And what online casinos do you use?
Yeah, I only use one. It's a lot of my guys, depending on where you're at in the country, they do Bovada and DraftKings or whatnot. I just do Bet Online. It's the only one I need. I don't play online all that much, and so it suits me. I mean, if they pay me, that's all that matters to me. So
yeah.
And there's they got a big following. They all do. They're all reputable.
Yeah, and Arnell, to answer your question, I think depends on where you live in the country. For me, I can't get on Bet Online where I'm at. If I wanted to play that one, I would have to use a VPN. So take that for what it's worth. All right, Joe Banda's out there patting me on the back, says, "Don't be modest. I've helped him a few times." So.
Good for you guys.
Yeah. All right, coming back over here for some other questions. Okay. Dice Dr. Dan has one for me. Do you still go to Tony for technique brush-ups? Yes. Every time I'm in Vegas, I at least call him. Sorry, I can't get that message off there. I at least call Tony and see if he's available, and we meet for a few times. In fact, the last time I was there, my wife joined us, and she sat on the couch and had a great time with the dog, and nobody does that for you that has any kind of reputation whatsoever. So I would say that was one of the greatest values of me enrolling in, at first, Advantage Dice Control, is that I have been able to do those tune-ups. And every
Yeah.
time, I can't stress that enough. Every time I learned something a little bit different, or I witnessed something a little bit different on how he does some of his tosses and things like that. So don't discount that, guys. That's worth its weight in gold.
Oh yeah, and I don't believe. I mean, all my workshops. Once you're a student, you only pay me once. That's it. All the workshops, tune-ups. Hey, I'm in town. Can I come and see you? You know, as long as you don't call me Friday night, I normally can accommodate you. But yeah, I love meeting everybody.
Yeah.
Again, my goal is I want you to be a consistent winner. That's why I do this.
So our friend G Dub has joined us. Howdy, boys. Late to the party. Welcome, G Dub.
Hey, buddy.
All right. Let's see here. Jeff over at Mid Atlantic Craps. He says he's noticed a lot of difference with the weight of the dice in Vegas last week, and how does that affect DI versus the table? Now, first of all, I would probably say that the weight of the dice, my hunch here is they were actually different sizes. There's two main sizes of dice that they would have. I've noticed in Vegas, for the most part, they seem to be the larger dice. And some of the tribal casinos that I play at quite a bit, they are the smaller dice. I don't know if that might be what you're talking about there, Jeff. But for me, yes, it does make a difference. I can't grip them the same way. I have to basically retrain myself. I have to watch what I'm doing, what I'm throwing. And that comes back to that situational awareness. If I'm not seeing the numbers that I want to see, that changes the way that I'm going to bet. So sorry, Tony, I jumped in on that one, but
That's all right. Listen, that's good. Yeah. I mean, if I use the palms dice that are on my table, they're the smaller ones. But when I met Larry last weekend, he bought me a bunch of dice from the gift shop, and you put them side by side. They were definitely bigger. Okay, definitely bigger. So I personally like the smaller.
oh, do you?
Yeah.
I like the bigger ones.
All right.
It just feels better in my hand. I can grip them a little bit better. It is, and it. I don't know that I'm any better or worse with the size, but the feel is nicer for me. Texas Ron out there. We can call Tony anytime. He answers his phone, replies to emails. He's always there for us. And,
Yep. I try to be.
yeah. Yep. All right. A couple more questions coming in. Duracell 8. What kind of criticism is out there about W.A.G.E? Not hating, not stating, but many gamblers would say, like the do about DI is the one that's making the money. I can't read it all. Okay, so basically teachers teach and players play. Have you had any negative feedback about W.A.G.E?
I've had negative feedback for 40 years. It doesn't matter to me. I didn't get where I am today by listening to feedback, did I? So, no.
Well,
But don't worry about the haters. They're going to be out there. But I really don't. I mean, the internet's big, and you guys are smart. I mean, you know when somebody's good, when somebody's bad, when they're a scam, when they're not doing things right. But I always say, you can't fake results. So anybody out there who's promising this or doing that, you want to see it. I invite you to my house to see it. There you go.
yeah. Nobody else does that.
Okay.
I missed a comment from Mid Atlantic Craps. I'm sorry, Jeff, I can't find it quickly, but basically he was saying that the size was the same. They were 775s and they were different weights. That's new. That's new to me. I haven't seen that yet. All right, coming back over, Tony Leo. Vince Armeni has a question for you. Do you play the 16-foot tables? And do you have a preference, 10, 12, 14?
No, I play predominantly. It's a qualifier. It's a good question. 12. I look for 12-foot tables. So, I mean, and don't forget, I live in Vegas, so I have more opportunities and to play alone, to pick and choose. Where a lot of you guys don't have that luxury, and it is what it is.
Yeah, so around me, at least the ones I play on most of the time are going to be 14-foot tables, and that's one of the reasons I went for a 14-foot sized practice table.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, yeah. You get used to it.
Yep. But I tell you, it does mess with you. Have you ever played those that hybrid table at Planet Hollywood or Bally's? It,
Yeah, and I don't like it. I played. Where did I play? I just played it. Oh, I played it with Rich Douglas at the M. They just got one in,
oh, really?
and
Okay.
yeah, and we were the only two there, and shooting, and I'm shooting from stick left, but they kept calling no roll because I hit that little thing there, and it didn't hit the back wall or whatever. Is that what you? And so they went, and I just didn't like it, so I just went. We just went to the regular table, but we had to try it, so I said I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, for me, Vince, I had a hard time adjusting to that smaller table. It was only 10 foot, I think it was. Practicing on a 14-foot table and going to a 10-foot, that muscle memory is just, it was a little too hard to overcome quickly. So, situational awareness, I walked away.
Hmm.
All right. Waylon out there from Waylon's Way Craps. Tony, do you teach different tosses for different tables and bounce?
Yeah. Uh, but I don't look at it whether it's bounce or firming. I mean whether it's bouncy or firm. I mean I do, but I'm looking at the results of that throw to base my decisions. But we do have tosses. I mean that can incorporate backspin, and I also have tosses where there'll be no spin. So I'm sure that's probably two of the things that you're going to look at when you're looking at a bouncy table. But I do what I do. If it ain't working, then obviously it's too bouncy and I'm not going to do it. But I normally can figure out the direction I need to go after a few rolls, anyways.
Right. So, um, being able to read the table and what kind of adjustments you're going to make,
Sure.
using your head a little bit. Don't let the bouncy table scare you. Figure it out. You can figure this out with some
Yeah,
different
yeah,
techniques.
yeah. And don't forget when you guys throw those dice out there, when they land, they're giving you valuable intel that you're going to use for the future. Okay, so that you got to learn how to read your rolls and what to bet on.
Yep. All right, we're coming up to close to an hour. We got a couple of other questions out there. Texas Crap Shooters, he's asking, what was the largest loss a new wage member shared with you, and how did you help him or her right size the mistake? And was that a mistake, if you can share?
Okay. We got a gentleman who's on track now, but he did lose his bankroll, and he thought that was the end of the world, but it's not. Okay, I mean, just because you lose your bankroll doesn't even mean you're going to have a losing month. Okay, we don't know that, so just keep doing what you do. Your plan will work, and once you have, the more you play, the more confidence you're going to get.
Yeah, that is the truth. And I told the story about mentoring. Well, the young gentleman that I mentored actually quit the game of craps.
Oh yeah.
Uh, it I still count that as a win. He quickly learned that he wasn't cut out for it. He wasn't going to be able to make some of the bets that we're required to make, and that was enough. So through mentoring, we got there. We determined that, okay, well, this isn't your game. Maybe your game's going to be baccarat, maybe it's going to be roulette, whatever it's going to be. But craps, nope, that's not going to do it.
Yep. I mean, my platform's not for everyone. It just isn't. Okay, so it's not easy either. I mean, compared to what everybody else does out there, mine is not easy. Okay, there's more to it than what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. All right, a couple more questions. I just want to really quick. Ed, I'm going to take your question offline, and I'll take it to Tony, and we'll get you an answer on that one. We'll come back to you with that one. All right, one more question. Anthony Hernandez. Dave, you've learned and played with Tony and played with Howard. How are the two classes different? Okay, so
Totally.
yeah, I get this question from time to time. I've taken classes from everybody, and sometimes they'll ask who's the best or whatever. Well, and Tony, I don't want to disappoint you or anything, but
You can't hurt my feelings.
they're all good, guys. The thing that I would say is I damaged myself a little bit by taking classes from everybody because I've got so many voices in my head. You need to bet this way, or you need to throw this way, or you need to do this or do that. So I feel like I've got a master's level of education in craps, but I don't have the experience yet. So I take what Howard has taught me, as well as the Golden Touch Craps people and Heavy. So I take all three of them in the grips that they teach me and the sets that they teach me, and then I apply those same principles to what Tony's teaching me. Now, I would also say that some of the other grips that Tony has taught me has enabled me to play from other positions that I couldn't play with just Golden Touch Craps or just Howard. It's opened up opportunities for me. And I know that might sound like a little bit of a cop-out, but I have learned something from everybody, and I do incorporate it all into my game, and it confuses the hell out of me sometimes, guys. All right, we got a couple more questions actually coming in. Clarence, I would like to know, after a year, how is different people with different sized bankrolls done? Did the small, scared guys get crushed? Is there a recommended starting bankroll? All right, so
Go ahead.
I'll take part of that. Anybody that's watched me for any amount of time knows that I am a low roller. And I do not have the bankroll to play the 7 levels or whatever it might be. So I've had to adapt my game to something that's going to work. And Tony's helped me work through that. So I've got a smaller bankroll. I risk less. I make less, but I'm disciplined. I walk away when I hit that 15 or 20%. And that's the only way that I'm going to survive as a low roller, working on building my bankroll and getting up to it. All right, so Tony, let me turn it over to you if you want to address anything on that one.
Okay, show me the question again.
Okay, he's saying, I'd like to know that after a year, have different people with different sized bankrolls done? Did a small or scared guy get crushed? Is there a recommended starting bankroll?
Good question. All right. Recommended starting bankroll. I mean, if you're going to play in a brick and mortar casino and play live at the casinos, I mean, you need the bankroll. If there's 4 ways to bet, so you're going to have to do the way you're going to bet on your bankroll. If you had $1,000 bankroll, you're not going to be able to go 7 levels and use it up as you lose. You're going to have to use a 2-win parlay, and you're looking for the longer roll and collect and press or whatever and do it that way. But my recommendation, if you're going to play live, $5,000. If you're going to play online, now $1,000 will work. All right. I mean, to be real safe, I'm talking about playing safe and being a consistent winner every month. I've got guys, I mean, that have some very large bankrolls and they won't lose. It's just, that's the nature of the game. If you can see how you're throwing and you know what to look for and you're betting into your advantage and you have the bankroll, I mean, you could have a losing day, you could have a losing week, but you're not going to have a losing month. So there you go.
Yep. All right, a couple more comments here. Duracell, he just made a comment that I really liked. The difference between a goal and a dream is called a plan. Great statement, Duracell. I like that a lot. And it reminds me, in the W.A.G.E Facebook forum, I won't say any names, but I think it was yesterday, one of the members posted his goal. It's a lofty goal, but I have no doubt that he's going to get it. I mean, that man has dedication, and he's laser focused. He's going for it, and win or lose, he's going to go for it, and I support him 100%.
Oh yeah, that's Tom from Maine. We played at Boston Encore the last time I was out there, and did good. But yeah, he wants to get that new Bentley, and I think it's great. I mean, whatever your goals are, guys, I mean, there's nothing stopping you. Go get them. I mean, that's all you got to do. Work your plan, and your plan will work. And don't let anybody rain on your parade at all. So.
All right, we've got one last question. I'm going to leave the comments going for just a minute as we talk about this, just in case there are a few more straggly questions. But Ian Olson would like to know, to sign up, what do you do? Text you, email? How do we get in touch with you, Tony?
Just, Tony at thegamingpro.com, or just go to the website or my YouTube videos and just call me. Any way you want to. If it's in regards to W.A.G.E and you want to go there, just go to wagemembers.com. And for W.A.G.E, anything else, just go to the gamingpro.com website. But just call me. I'll take your call.
Yep. Ian, I just put it in the chat down there. Tony at thegamingpro.com. All right, Tony, we are at the 1 hour mark, so I think we're going to wrap this up here for tonight.
All right. Well, anybody needs me, just message me, find out about that bonus or that savings if you're interested in W.A.G.E. And I'm looking forward to playing with all you guys. You guys all take care.
Yep. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this show. Get outside of the chat. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks, everybody.